No. No. Still have time for this. I could still make this video before Christmas. Oh, no. Back. No, Mariah Carey, get out of here. I can do this. I can still do this. I still have time. Top 10 Darkest Backstories in Anime. The title speaks for itself. Let's go. And we're starting off this list with a 5-way tie. So sue me. With all the nominations we got, these 5 characters had very, very similar backstories. So I like to call this number... So you were experimented on as a child, and that wasn't very nice. These characters were thrown into long periods of pain and torture for the sake of science, research, or because the perpetrator is just some sadistic asshole. I'm sure there's plenty of characters out in the anime world who fit the bill, but the first 5 I can think of are Hotaru Tomoe from Sailor Moon, Krona from Soul Eater, Eri from My Hero Academia, Nanachi from Made in Abyss, and Chesla Maya from Bakano. Hotaru's body was damaged at a young age due to her father's experiments, so he continues to perform numerous surgeries on her, not only to turn her into a cyborg, but also to create a strong enough body for an alien entity to possess her. Love you too, Dad! It's just what I wanted for my birthday. Krona was abused and experimented on by their mother Medusa in order for her to create the ultimate fusion between a Meister and a weapon, while also attempting to turn them into the most powerful Kishin in the planet. This involved a lot of physical training and mental abuse, with Medusa only showing any form of care and love if Krona performed perfectly. Eri has the unique ability to reverse a person's body to a younger state, even if it means erasing their quirk or even erasing her target permanently. Well, ain't that special? So of course she became a target used for unethical experimentations by the villain Overhaul. He felt he could use her ability to control society with fear, so he put her through horrendous torture and experimentations to get what he wanted. Nanachi lost her family and home, so she was taken away by the White Whistle in order to see what would happen to the human body if they were subjected to the lower levels of the abyss. You know, for science. This ultimately deformed her body, as well as the bodies of her friends, and she was literally the only survivor from the experiments. Oh, that poor girl. As for Chesla, he and his shipmates gained immortality while sailing to America. Since he was still a child, he was being taken care of by his guardian, only to be horribly experimented on for over a century. Wow! The forms of torture he was pushed into involved his guardian slicing, dicing, and cutting into his body to truly push the limits of immortality. Ow! He eventually got fed up with this treatment, so he devoured his guardian and left to live a life of his own. Eternally. As a child. You know, I think it's safe to say that if I had to pick one person from this category, it automatically goes to Chesla. I feel so sorry for Chesla, but yeah. Human experimentation in your early childhood definitely fits on a dark list like this. We're off to a great start, aren't we? And here we have a 2-way tie. This is the last tie, I swear. Kind of. And let's just call this category... So you have become a human sacrifice! And that's not cool. Our 2-way tie is shared by none other than Ai Enma from Hellgirl and Yuko Kanoe from Dusk Maiden of Amnesia. On top of being bullied endlessly by the village children for the mere accusation of being an evil spirit reincarnated, it happens, Ai was offered as a sacrifice to the mountain god in order to secure a bountiful harvest. Her parents and cousin did everything they could to protect her by hiding her in the forest. But once the villagers eventually found her, they forced her and her parents to be buried alive. The most heartbreaking part of this, though, is Ai having her beloved cousin Centauro pressured into betraying her by being the first villager to throw dirt at her during the burial. Feeling nothing but pure rage, Ai manages to escape her grave and punish the villagers by burning them all to the ground. This then gets the Master of Hell's attention, which ultimately leads to her becoming Hellgirl herself. As for Yuko, this is a tragic tale of being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Yuko and her sister hear the village leaders debate about the hopeless plague killing everyone in their village. They came to the conclusion that because the school was built on top of a forgotten shrine, they were being punished with the plague. This then leads them to believing that they need to find an innocent maiden to be sacrificed in order to save the village. The sisters were also looking after an orphaned girl named Asagi, so Yuko feared that she would be the villagers' first choice as a sacrifice. Once Asagi went missing, Yuko ran to the school where the ceremony was supposed to be held. Turns out, though, that the village leaders forced the role of God's messenger onto Asagi, and that the very first name that she would yell out would become the true sacrifice. Sadly, when Yuko ran in to stop the ceremony, Asagi yells out her name, and that was it. The village leaders were convinced that Yuko would become the true sacrifice to the gods, and tossed her into the underground tunnel that led to the old shrine. Alone, with a broken leg, slowly starving in the dark tunnel, Yuko tragically dies. While it may be understandable for ignorant villagers to really believe that a sacrifice would appease their gods, Yuko and I were given a horrific fate no one deserved. If you join the Survey Corps to protect your town and fight off titans, you're gonna have a bad time. Needless to say, your life is just never-ending dread if you're in the Survey Corps, and you're more than likely gonna have a tragic backstory to back that up. But out of all the Survey Corps members, the one who honestly takes the cake here is Levi Ackerman. Levi was born in the subterranean city known as the Underground. His mother was a prostitute that became pregnant by one of her clients and shortly dies to an illness, leaving a young Levi behind. His uncle takes pity on him and decides to teach the basic traits he needs in order to survive. You know, social skills, self-defense, how to effectively shank your targets at an incredible speed, you know, the usual stuff you teach your kids. Once Levi was able to easily win a fight against a thug, his uncle outright abandons him, thinking he'll just be fine on his own. Well, ain't that just nice of him? Levi finds himself joining a gang, pulling off numerous heists and beating up more thugs. He is then offered the job that would not only help his injured friend get the treatment that he needed, but to also gain access to the surface world. Levi takes the job, but is then pursued by Erwin Smith for trying to steal the important documents. Erwin offers Levi and his friends to join the Survey Corps, or be subjected to the military prison where they don't take kindly to underground civilians. Levi joins reluctantly, but carries out his duties efficiently in order to locate the documents. Sadly, in an attempt to kill Erwin and steal the documents, his two best friends that joined him on this job were suddenly attacked by titans and brutally killed. Levi is an impressive character in Attack on Titan for being one of the strongest soldiers in the Survey Corps' history, while also carrying such a traumatic past. Losing your mother at a young age, being abandoned by your one and only family member, getting treated differently because you came from the underground, and losing the two closest people in your life due to a titan attack.
This is fine.
When you see him in action flying around like the deadliest thing to ever exist with a look of pure rage, you can honestly understand why. When given the choice to live as long as possible or to die, what would you do? Isabella from the Promised Neverland was put into the same situation as Ray, Emma, and Norman, but her suffering never truly stopped. She grew up on a farm, just like our main trio. She had close friends and became close to a boy she truly cared for. When the time came, however, Isabella was taken to the wall's exit to meet her fate. But unlike all the other children before her, she was given a different option. She could either die a worthless death and be served as food to the monsters who run their world, or she could become a mother. Mothers are caretakers, having to force on a smile for the children, knowing full well that they're only being raised as livestock. This would require smart young ladies to study in a controlled environment non-stop and to be able to give birth to one healthy baby, knowing full well that their newborn child would be sent to one of these farms. It's a messed up life the mothers have to live, but Isabella takes on the role as a mother in order to stay alive as long as possible. Despite all the training she had to endure and giving up on her newborn to a farm, she felt as if she could carry on with her duties so long as she does as she's told. But then, she meets Ray, and sadly discovers that on this farm that she's running, she is also raising her own son as livestock. Whether or not you hold any sympathy towards a human raising children to die just so she can survive is for you to choose alone. But you can't really say that the lives of the mothers, including Isabella's, isn't a tragic one to live. Needless to say, if you're part of the Straw Hat crew, you had a dark backstory.
I don't make the rules, ma'am. I just think them up and write them down.
Everyone knows that Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirates from One Piece have such tragic backstories that there are numerous videos and websites ranking their pasts from least to most tragic. So yeah, just saying. Even though some of their backstories are pretty minor compared to most of the characters I've mentioned so far, the fact that everyone on this ship has suffered greatly in some way is basically why I'm adding them all on this spot. From abandonment, to racism, to mental and physical abuse, to bullying, to watching your loved ones die in front of you, to having said loved ones torture you and wish you were never ever born, to being taken advantage of, to watching the hopes and dreams of your friends get dashed aside in a cruel twist of fate, to, I'm just gonna stop here because I can go on forever with this crew. Each and every member of the Straw Hat crew lived a life of tragedy and hardship, which is mostly the reason why they look out for each other and why Luffy wants to protect his crew like they're his family. Each and every member of the Straw Hat crew lived a life of tragedy and hardship, which is mostly the reason why they look out for each other and why Luffy wants to protect his crew like they're his family. Let me know in the comments section down below which Straw Hat member you think suffered the most. I'm honestly interested to see how you would rank them. Honestly, and seriously, honestly, everyone in Fruits Baskets has a tragic backstory, and I need to give everyone in this show a hug. Seriously, they're such tragic babies. Come here, give me a hug. But if we're going to focus our attention towards some of the characters, I'll give this spot to the entire Soma family. Whether you're a family member who transforms or the actual head of the family, your life flat out sucks. This whole torture starts off naturally with the head herself, Akito Soma. Even after she was born, her own mother wanted nothing to do with her because she wanted all of her husband's precious attention. Mother of the Year, everybody! Once Akito's father dies, the non-stop psychological trauma thrown at her by her own mother is just pure insanity. Trying her best to convince her that she will never ever be loved by anyone ever again out of sheer spite, Ren goes above and beyond to make Akito feel like she will be abandoned and alone for the rest of her life. Desperately trying to hold on to the other family members, Akito uses unlimited amounts of torture, fear, and guilt to keep her family together. If she senses any form of happiness between the family members or towards anyone outside of the family falling in love with someone in their family, she would do everything she could to put a stop to it. But the torment didn't just come from Akito. No. A lot of the Soma members suffered greatly from none other than their own parents. Momiji's mother was traumatized to the point where she wanted to forget her own son. Isuzu was being abused and manipulated by both of her parents. Yuki and Ayame were being controlled and pushed around by their mother. And lest we forget, Kyo. Poor Kyo. Kyo having to endure endless pain and neglect from his father while being forced to believe that his mere existence pushed his mother to an early grave. Yikes. Thankfully, they can eventually move forward and live happier lives by the end of Fruits Basket, but their own road to personal freedom and happiness was not an easy one. I was almost wondering if this character was a little too high on this list, but I'll have to admit, being born with no skin, arms, legs, eyes, vocal cords, and a functioning nervous system would understandably lead to a traumatic life. Yeah, you guessed right, we're gonna be talking about Hyakimoto from Dororo. So, long story short, his father wanted to secure his land's future and his position as one of the greatest leaders in history by literally offering his firstborn son to 12 demon lords before he was born. On the day of his birth, lightning strikes the room and reveals a once healthy baby stripped of his body, leaving nothing but a somewhat lifeless skeleton with muscles and tissue. Ew! Even though he's still alive, Hyakimoto's father decides to celebrate his victory by tossing him out to either die alone or consumed by any demons lurking about. Thankfully, one of the housekeepers takes pity on him and puts him on a boat, giving him a small chance to survive. Luckily for him, the poor baby is discovered by a doctor who's able to take care of him and build some prosthetic limbs for him to use as he grows older. While under the doctor's care, Hyakimoto had a more decent childhood compared to, everyone else on this list. But it certainly wasn't an easy life to live, considering the huge disadvantage his father forced on him. Oh boy, here we go. Everyone should know this infamous character, Lucy from Elfenlied. We're here already. Let's do this. Just gonna briefly talk about this one since, come on, you already know her. Lucy was born as a Diclonius, which gives her those cat-like ears and pink hair. Naturally, she was bullied by everyone. Her caretakers wanted nothing to do with her. Her so-called best friend ever betrays her so she doesn't have to get bullied by the others. And the school bullies do insanely horrific things to her, from relentlessly pushing her around to killing her poor puppy. Okay, you know what? These kids need to pay. I mean, no one was even angry when that happened. These kids learn the meaning of, you F around, you find out. She tried her best to live in hiding, only to surrender when her newest friend Aiko was severely injured in an attempt to capture her. She became subject to restricted imprisonment with the highest amount of security and endless experimentations. With everything Lucy had to go through and how everyone treated her for being a freak, you honestly can't blame her for losing any amount of empathy or remorse towards humanity. Kinda makes you wonder who could possibly top this kind of backstory. Oh, I almost forgot about these two. I'm getting demonetized, aren't I? So, where do I begin with these two? Hansel and Gretel from Black Lagoon are Romanian twins, raised in an orphanage that would soon be left under the control of the Romanian mob when the death of their leader led to the downfall of his communist regime. And of course, under the thoughtful care of this particular mob, these poor twins were subjected to their most profitable pastime, snuff films. Why did I agree to make this video? These films basically forced the twins to either kill other children or perform, schmedo stuff on camera. I am hating everything about this, but you get the picture. The lifestyle that was forced upon them turned them into extremely sadistic killers who honestly believe their lifespans increase with every life that they take. There's no saving these two, is there? Now on to Loki. No. I still have time. We're almost finished. Just hold on a little longer. So this honorable mentions list is pretty long, as you would have guessed, and I can hear them jingle bells getting closer. So let's just speed this part up, shall we? Come on. We all knew who would get the spot. His birth was considered to be an omen since he was born from a lynched woman. A band of mercenaries wanted to walk past him, only for a woman in the group to take pity and raise him, only for her to die to an illness 3 years later. Well, that's not looking good for him. The leader of the group, Gambino, at least taught him how to fight by the time he turned 6 years old, but once he turned 9, he sold guts to a member of the group for one night, if you sadly know what I'm talking about. This incident, along with an accident Gambino endured, put a severe strain in their relationship, subjecting Guts to physical and mental abuse by the hands of his only father figure. Since Gambino blamed him for all of their misfortunes, he makes an attempt at Guts' life, only for the poor boy to fight back and kill him. Once the troop finds out, they label him as a father killer and chase him out of the camp, trying to kill him. Guts ends up getting shot at from on top of a large cliff and falls to his near death, only to be taken in by a different mercenary group. So he started off with a really dark past, but I'm sure things will get better, right? He's got his good friend Griff. Oh. Well, he has his loyal comrades. Oh. Well, he's got his precious love, Casca. Oh. Well, at least he has a perfectly healthy body. I'm just gonna stop talking. Guts from Berserk. The one anime character with a truly dark backstory, and he still can't catch a break. While these backstories tend to traumatize us, they also test our humanity and empathy while making us think about what they're experiencing. It can also make us feel truly grateful for the lives that we're blessed with while being surrounded by our precious friends and loved ones. Okay, the Christmas spirit is seeping in, so here we go. Happy holidays, everyone! Now let's see which anime I'll be reviewing for the holiday season. Oh! The Ancient Mage's Bride! What a festive choice, honestly. Be sure to stick around for that video and have a relaxing, love-filled holiday season. Which is something everyone in this list desperately needs. 'Tis the season for me to make a dark list around the most wholesome time of the year. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Let me know which anime character you felt had the darkest backstory in anime, and let me know what you thought of this video in the comments below. And yes, The Ancient Mage's Bride was chosen as the winner of the Patreon polls as the one anime you all really wanted me to review. Speaking of Patreon, I like to give a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters. With your generosity and participation, I'm still able to make whatever videos I want, whether or not it fits with YouTube's obnoxious algorithm. So thank you all for your support, and thank you to everyone else for watching this video. More awesome videos will be on the way, so stay tuned to Anime America.